Good morning students. Welcome you to this online teaching session of Academic World School, Bemetara. Today again we will be continuing the topic respiration, which is from the first chapter. In the last class we studied about respiration. What we studied is that respiration is a multi-step process which is enzyme mediated, in which oxidative breakdown of glucose takes place inside the living cells to release energy. Now, it is a kind of a chemical reaction going on inside the body, in the cells. This chemical reaction liberates large amount of energy. Aerobic respiration means where oxygen is used to break down glucose, it liberates 38 ATP. So when energy is liberated, we consider this kind of process as exothermic process. So see here, this respiration we consider it as exothermic process. What do you understand by the word? Exo means out and thermic is associated with heat or energy. When heat or energy is liberated out, we consider it as exothermic reaction. Why do we consider respiration as exothermic? Is this glucose which is a 6-carbon compound, this glucose when it reacts with oxygen in the presence of enzymes, it gives carbon dioxide, water and 38 ATP. Now here energy is liberated out. That's why we consider respiration as exothermic process. This we have also discussed in our previous class. Again, this respiration takes place in the living cells. Did I say animal cell? No, I said living cells. Now from living cells we understand that both plant cell and animal cell are considered as living cell. Now question arises, does plant undergo respiration? We all know that plants undergo photosynthesis. This is a very common concept that we had been reading since class 4 or 5. But when I say that respiration takes place in all living cells, from living cells, plant cells are also considered as living cell. So, does plant undergo respiration? This is a question. You will be surprised to know that plants also undergo respiration. We'll see how. I said that respiration takes place in all living cells. From living cells here I mean that it includes both plant cell and animal cell. This means that plants also undergo respiration. But the rate of respiration in plant is very slow. The rate of respiration in plant is very slow. On a large scale, if we see the net positivity, plants undergo more of photosynthesis as compared to respiration. So on a large scale, we understand that plants undergo photosynthesis, but this also means that plants undergo respiration as well. In the last class, we conducted an activity where I told you that if we take a lime water in a test tube and we blow it, the exhaled air which bubbles inside the lime water turns it milky. This confirms the presence of carbon dioxide gas in the exhaled air. So when we are exhaling, we are animal cells. Animals undergo respiration which liberates carbon dioxide, turning lime water milky. But when I say that plants also undergo respiration, we'll see a small activity in which it will show that germinating seeds also respire. We'll take a small activity. For this small activity, what we have to do, the activity is to show respiration in germinating respiration in germinating seed, this means that carbon dioxide is produced. What we will do, we will take a conical flask. We will take a conical flask. In this conical flask, we will put germinating seeds. We will take 50 to 55 germinating seeds. Say it is gram seeds. You can also take sprouts of moong. What you will do next is, you will take a small test tube. You will tie it with a thread so that the other end hangs outside, and you will fit a cork. You will fit a cork tightly in the mouth of the conical flask, which is fitted with a bent tube like this. The other end of the bent tube should be dipped in a beaker containing water. It is good to use colored water so that we can observe the experiment properly. So we can mix any color to make the water colored. Now what happens when these gram seeds or the germinating seeds germinate further, we will leave the whole setup undisturbed for 2 hours. In these 2 hours, what will happen? These germinating seeds will respire and it will consume the oxygen present inside the conical flask. Here the cork is put in such a way that the mouth is sealed. Vaseline can also be put by the opening of the conical flask. It consumes the oxygen here and liberates carbon dioxide. This test tube contains potassium hydroxide. This test tube contains concentrated solution of KOH, that is potassium hydroxide. When carbon dioxide is liberated, this carbon dioxide is absorbed by this KOH. So here what will happen? The oxygen that was present is already consumed in the process of respiration by the germinating seeds, and carbon dioxide which is produced is absorbed by KOH. So inside the conical flask there forms a kind of vacuum and a suction pull is developed which is responsible to make the colored water inside the bent tube rise. Suppose I mark this position as initial position. After 2 hours, I will find that the water has risen to a certain level. So this one is final position. What makes the water to rise up in this bent delivery tube is that here a suction pull is developed because oxygen was consumed by the germinating seeds, and when after the respiration it gives carbon dioxide which is absorbed by KOH. Now here a vacuum kind is created and the suction pull is developed which will enable the rise in water in the capillary tube or the delivery tube. So this experiment proves that carbon dioxide is produced during the germination of seeds. So here we understand that not only animals but plants also undergo respiration. So we have completed that respiration is an exothermic process and respiration also takes place in plants. Next we will come to the topic types of respiration. Let me clean this board. I hope you have noted it down. At the end of this lecture, I will give you 3 assignments. These 3 assignments you will complete in any notebook and you will send the assignment through ERP. Okay? So the next we will do is, this one, types of respiration. Types of respiration. In types of respiration, we will first see in external and internal respiration. What do you understand by external and internal respiration? See here, external respiration, as we have discussed in the last class, that respiration is not a single step process. Respiration begins with the first step, that is breathing. In external respiration, what happens? There is the exchange of gases between the respiratory surface. What happens? It occurs, or exchange of gases occur. You can write down, exchange of gases occur at the respiratory surface. Respiratory surface. If we talk about human beings, because in the next class we will studying about the human beings. So if we talk about human beings, exchange of gases occur at respiratory surface means in human beings alveoli is the respiratory surface. In the last class I told you that blood capillaries carrying blood is in very close proximity with the respiratory surface where this exchange of gases takes place. Why this exchange of gases takes place? This exchange of gases takes place because of the difference in partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the alveolar air and the blood. What happens when the partial pressure of oxygen is high in the alveolar air? Oxygen diffuses from the alveolar air to the blood. And in carbon dioxide, just the reverse happens. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the blood is high, so the blood diffuses from the blood into the alveolar air. This exchange of gases between the alveolar air and the blood is considered as external respiration, which happens in the respiratory surface. Whereas in internal respiration, the second one, internal respiration. In internal respiration, here also exchange of gases takes place. Exchange of gases takes place between blood and tissues. The blood contains RBC. We all know the color of the blood is red. This red color of the blood is due to a pigment called hemoglobin. This oxygen which is now present in the blood will bind with this hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin, and it is transported to the various cells in the body. Similarly, after respiration, when carbon dioxide is produced, this carbon dioxide also combines with the hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin and is transported through the blood to the respective part for exchange so that it can be exhaled out from the body. So external respiration occurs at the respiratory surface, whereas internal respiration occurs between the blood and the tissues. So this was the external and internal respiration. Next we will do aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration depends upon the requirement of oxygen. The type of respiration in which oxygen is required for the breakdown of glucose is considered as aerobic, and anaerobic means N means without oxygen. The type of respiration in which oxygen is not required for the breakdown of glucose is called anaerobic respiration. Let's see, I'll make two columns. Aerobic respiration. And the second one is anaerobic respiration. Let's understand the meaning first. What do you mean by air? AER means air, and bios means life. Where respiration takes place in presence of air, that is oxygen, we call it as aerobic respiration. And from the meaning, here N means without. This N means without. AER, air, means without oxygen. And where it takes place? In living cells. So bios. So see, the name itself suggests the meaning of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So we'll see how aerobic respiration is different from anaerobic respiration. The first point, from the meaning itself, we understand that aerobic respiration requires oxygen. So let me clear this. The first point that we are going to write is it requires oxygen. Is used for various. Here what happens, the glucose that we call it as the organic compound is completely broken down. Here in the presence of oxygen, the glucose is completely broken down. So second point what we can write is complete breakdown of glucose takes place. Here what was the first point? Oxygen is not required. Oxygen is not required. And here complete breakdown of glucose takes place. Here incomplete or partial breakdown of glucose takes place. This aerobic respiration takes place inside the cells, we all know. But the cell contains the cytoplasm. There are various other organelles as well. Let me draw a rough diagram of a cell. The outer membrane is the outer covering is the cell membrane, and inner we have cytoplasm, we have nucleus, and we have other cell organelles, but I am not going to draw all those. Only I will draw those components which are required to understand aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So this is the cytoplasm and this one is the mitochondria, suppose. So in aerobic respiration what happens? This aerobic respiration occurs, it occurs partly in cytoplasm and partly in mitochondria. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, this takes place inside the cell of course, but in the cytoplasm only. Mitochondria is not required here. Third we can write down, it occurs in cytoplasm. Mitochondria is not required. It is not required. See here what happens? We got glucose, the blood brought the glucose. The oxygen was also brought by the blood to different cells of the body where respiration is taking place. Now see here, glucose reacts with oxygen to form pyruvate. We will see how it gets broken down. But aerobic respiration takes place half in the cytoplasm and partly in the cytoplasm and partly in the mitochondria. Whereas anaerobic respiration takes place in the cytoplasm only. Mitochondria is not required. We'll see how it is broken down, what are the various pathways. We'll consider it in the next topic. The fourth point is it generates 38 ATP. What is ATP? ATP is the energy coin. It is adenosine triphosphate. It generates 38 ATP per one molecule of glucose. Means if one molecule of glucose is broken down, it releases 38 ATP because complete breakdown of glucose is taking place. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, because incomplete or partial breakdown of glucose is taking place, the energy generation is very less as compared to aerobic respiration. It liberates or it generates 2 ATP per molecule of glucose. So from here we understand that one molecule of glucose on complete breakdown produces 38 ATP, which is advantageous, whereas anaerobic respiration, here also one molecule of glucose will break down to form 2 ATP. So this is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Next one will do breakdown of glucose by various pathways. Keep on writing it down, okay? Next one is breakdown of glucose by various pathways. We know that either it is taking place in presence of oxygen or in absence of oxygen. So we'll draw kind of a flow chart which will help us to understand how glucose is broken down both in aerobic and anaerobic and aerobic respiration. Suppose this one is glucose. This glucose, the formula of glucose is C6H12O6. This means glucose is a 6-carbon compound. It is a 6-carbon compound. This glucose is broken down to form pyruvate. This process takes place inside the cytoplasm. The breakdown of glucose into the first stable compound, that is pyruvate. This is a 3-carbon compound. This is a 3-carbon compound. Suppose this one is glucose. We have 6 carbon here. Pyruvate is a 3-carbon compound. This first step occurs in the cytoplasm. Once pyruvate is formed, let's consider first aerobic respiration. This pyruvate gets broken down to form 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 38 ATP. See here, glucose getting broken down into pyruvate took place in the cytoplasm, this portion. Once the pyruvate is formed, this pyruvate enters into the mitochondria for further breakdown. So this step occurs in mitochondria. In presence of oxygen. In presence of oxygen means it is aerobic respiration. Carbon dioxide plus water plus 38 ATP. Now see here, we started with 6 carbon compound glucose which got broken down in the cytoplasm to form pyruvate, which is 3 carbon compound. This 3 carbon compound now enters into the mitochondria, and in the presence of oxygen 3 carbon compound gets broken down to form 1 carbon dioxide. Contains how many carbon? 1 carbon. This means we know that when bonds get broken down, large amount of energy is liberated. Here 6 molecules of glucose was there. These bonds got broken down here to form 3 carbon pyruvate, which further got broken down inside mitochondria to form 1. See, from 6 to 1. So we have got 38 ATP. So 1 molecule of glucose broken down to form 38 ATP, and carbon dioxide is 1 carbon compound. This takes place in the cells inside the mitochondria. Let me label this one mitochondria. Let's move towards anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, first we will consider the yeast cell. Suppose this one is the yeast cell. Here lack of oxygen. In lack of oxygen or in absence of oxygen in yeast cell, this glucose which has now converted into pyruvate in the cytoplasm, this process will also take place in cytoplasm. Here mitochondria is not required, and what it gets transformed into, it forms ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus 2 ATP. Because it is anaerobic respiration, this is anaerobic respiration means respiration is taking place in absence of oxygen. So fermentation, this process can also be termed as fermentation. We can also write down it as fermentation. In fermentation, the byproducts are ethanol or ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide, and only 2 ATP. Now see here, we started with 6 carbon compound which got broken down into a 3 carbon compound called pyruvate, which got further broken down into ethanol, which is 2 carbon compound, C2H5OH, 2 carbon compound. So see here, the carbon compounds, these bonds are not totally broken. It is partial or incomplete breakdown of glucose is taking place, 6 to 2, and the amount of energy released is only 2 ATP. This process is called fermentation. Fermentation is used for various economic importance or value, like it is used in brewing industry. Brewing industry means the industry which helps in the formation of or preparation of whiskey, wine and beer. Fermentation is also used in baking industry, like preparation of bread, biscuits and many bakery items, cake. What happens when we add this yeast cell and this anaerobic respiration or fermentation takes place, large amount of carbon dioxide is produced. This carbon dioxide production makes the bakery items puffy and spongy. You may find many pores in bread or any other cake kind of bakery items. That is, this happens only because of the production of carbon dioxide. It helps in making it puffy and spongy. And third, it is also used in yogurt formation, means curd formation. So this process, fermentation, has economic importance as well. Second one, anaerobic respiration we can find in muscle cell. In muscle cell as well, oxygen is absent, and this process also takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. So we can write here, it is also lack of O2 and it takes place in cytoplasm. What are the byproducts that are formed? the byproducts that are formed is lactic acid. Lactic acid plus 2 ATP. Now see, because this is taking place in the muscle cell, in aerobic respiration what was happening? When carbon dioxide was produced during respiration, this carbon dioxide was diffused with the blood forming carboxyhemoglobin and it was carried out so that it can be exhaled out. Carbon dioxide was in the form of gas. But this muscle cell, lactic acid crystals are produced. These crystals cannot be carried away by the blood. Then this gets deposited in the muscles. It takes almost 3 to 4 days to get dissolved. By this time, the person may feel cramps or pain in the muscle. The most common example that you would find that during heavy exercise or the athletes when they run very fast, their muscles starts cramp or they start paining. Why this happens? When we exercise or when we do heavy physical work, the muscles require energy. This energy is produced in the cell by breakdown of glucose in the presence of oxygen. Now here the demand of oxygen has increased, supply is less. So here a lack of oxygen kind of condition or situation arises. In this meanwhile, the muscle starts anaerobic respiration in the absence of oxygen, and that leads to the formation of this lactic acid. Because this lactic acid is in the form of crystals, it's not a gas, it cannot be carried away by the blood. It gets deposited in the muscles and gives a feeling of pain. So the athletes, the footballers, the wrestlers, the cricketers, they feel cramp after playing too much, or the athletes also feel cramps or after running. So this is practically you may also feel that if you walk for 10 kilometers or 8 kilometers or if you play too much, you feel cramps or pain in the muscles. So these two are the examples of anaerobic respiration, and this one is aerobic respiration. So what we have learned till now, that respiration, if it takes place in presence of oxygen, it is aerobic. If it takes place in absence of oxygen, it is anaerobic. In aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of glucose takes place, whereas in anaerobic, incomplete breakdown of glucose takes place. Aerobic respiration releases 38 ATP, which is too much as compared to anaerobic respiration. So this one we have completed. In the next class, we'll read about human respiratory system. What are the various organs inside the human body which is responsible for this complex process to work on. Okay, and now I will be giving you 3 assignments which you will be completing in the copy, and let me make it very clear, these all our assignments are very, very important because it is a part of assessment of periodic test 1. What you have to do is, you have to complete the assignment in any copy. It may be rough copy. Complete it in a good handwriting. Take a pic with your phone and send the file, the pic that you have taken of your assignment through ERP. If you have any problem in accessing the ERP, you may feel very free to contact the school number and make the ERP work properly, function properly on your phone, and these assignments are to be sent to me only through ERP. So I'll give you 3 questions for the assignment. Write it down. Pathways. Your 3 assignments are assignment. First question is pathways, aerobic respiration, different from anaerobic respiration. Second question is lack of oxygen in muscle cells leads to cramp among cricketers. Explain why. Your third question is, pathways the various pathways, the flow chart